Jeff, Saturday, fact or fiction, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. Is that fact or fiction?
Oh, that's fact. I mean, listen, they played a lights-out game, but you're talking about the number one defense in the league. Created 5 turnovers last night. You saw what they did offensively, capitalized on them, scored points when they needed to, took a very, very good San Francisco 49ers and beat them up pretty good. So they're physical. They believe in each other. They're getting great performance out of their quarterback and their receivers, especially last night. It was a special one. I'm giving them the top.
Yeah, not much not to like there in Baltimore right now. Robert, the Lions are the biggest threat to the 49ers in the NFC. Is that fact or fiction?
That is fiction. Congratulations to the Lions on winning the division for the first time in 30 years. But the biggest threat to the 49ers is the 49ers. It's about health. At this point, you got Brock Purdy dealing with the stinger. You got Trent Williams, who got banged up in the game. If those guys are not able to assemble the Avengers, then they're not going to be able to go into the playoffs and be their best.
Yeah, I mean, Trent, if they're without Trent, we saw that earlier in the season, looked like a different team. Dominique, the Cowboys will be one and done in the playoffs. Is that fact or fiction?
Nah, that is fiction. I think the one team that should scare the Cowboys are the 49ers, and the 49ers aren't even going to be playing in week 1 of the playoffs. I think the Cowboys definitely get past week 1, and depending on who their second-round matchup is, we might see them in the conference championship. And I mean, as the cliche goes, on any given Sunday, they could win and be in the Super Bowl. So the Cowboys are not out of it by any stretch. Certainly not one game.
But they do play playoff games sometimes on Saturdays, even Mondays, as the Cowboys did last year. So you never really know. It could be a calendar issue.
Any given day of football.
Look, man, they won in the first round last year, and then they got smoked by the Niners. So, like, what are we seeing? Like, do you trust that this Cowboys defense?
I do.
That is still a championship caliber defense.
Absolutely. They actually played. They gave up 22 points against
I thought
Miami.
They played all right
last
on
second
Sunday.
Field goal.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. I mean, you would hope they could get the stop late in the game to close this thing out after they have an 18-play drive to go take the lead. But the reality is they are a good enough team to beat anybody. And if Dak Prescott continues to play the way he is playing and they continue to put points on the board, if they can limit the way people can run the ball and play physical with them, maybe move Micah Parsons back to that Mike position, a few snaps early in drives, do those kind of things. They still have a very talented football team.
Yeah, it looked all right against Miami, but not so much the week before against Buffalo.
Right.
That is very true. And the reason that they didn't look great against Buffalo is because they got their face ran through. So when I look at the Cowboys, I came away from this game with the Dolphins actually feeling better about the Cowboys. And the reason is this Cowboys team can win a Super Bowl if they simply change their mindset, right? In points per game, they're 5th in the league. They're 7th in sacks. They're 5th in pass yards given up per game. But stats are like bikinis, guys. They show you a lot, but they don't show you everything. And for the Cowboys, it's more about their mindset, their want to. It's about guts. So when I look at Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence and all these talented guys that they have on the back end with Stephon Gilmore and Deron Bland, they have to make a decision that when the play is going to be made, we are going to make it. We're not going to allow teams to come and bully us at the line of scrimmage, and we're going to earn the right to rush the passer by stopping the run. And we've seen these playoff teams, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Lions, they are great running teams. So the Cowboys have to change that mindset because they have the personnel and they have the scheme and they have the quarterback. So I do believe this Cowboys team can win a Super Bowl, but it all starts up top.
What about this home road thing, Neek? I mean, they've been so much better at home this year. They came pretty close to knocking off the Dolphins in Miami the other day, but they couldn't do it. Are you concerned about them having to go on the road in the playoffs?
And they came close to knocking off Philly earlier in the season, coming close on a few occasions throughout this season. I think it matters a little bit. I think everyone would rather be at home. The crowd noise is not a surprise to the Cowboys. It's not new to their veteran quarterback or experienced coaching staff. So I think they're capable of winning on the road. I don't believe that they are just a dead man walking just because they have to get on a plane and fly to an unfamiliar city. So they can do it, but of course, everyone would rather be at home if they could.
The only concern I have about their defense is linebackers, right? They're thin, they've been banged up, right? That is an issue. And when you get in the playoffs, that second level of defense, that front seven, they got to cap that thing off. They're undersized, and you're seeing a lot of people get physical with those guys. That's a tough thing to overcome.
So, Jeff, what do you do in that situation when you have one of the best players in the league, Micah Parsons, who can play that linebacker spot. You move him there, maybe a little bit, get him some reps here in the last 2 games.
Exactly right.
See, if they tried to get your guy Shaq Leonard, but the Eagles got him.
Philly.
Played pretty well yesterday,
played
didn't
really
he?
good last night.
Looking
Yes, he did.
pretty good. Hey, Bowl Mania, Ken, Taylor Swift. Look, this is the 7th time this year the Chiefs have scored fewer than 20 points. In Mahomes' first 5 years, they did that only 6 times total. So we're not making this up, right?
No,
like you talk about media creating narratives and all that. Like this is numbers. Like they are having trouble scoring. Here's what Mahomes had to say about it.
I still believe that we can go do what we want to do. It's just how can we correct it as quickly as possible. If we clean it up, we'll be able to score points. It's just we got to clean it up. We're 2 games left. You have to do it, and if we don't, we'll be going home. So I think if we clean it up, If we clean it up, we can beat anybody. I truly believe that. But we got to prove that we can do it.
Said clean it up 4 times in there.
Clean it up.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
Nick, can they clean it up?
He's right. If they do clean it up, they could beat anybody, but it doesn't seem like they could clean it up. I assume they've been trying all season, and to give up 14 points as an offense and only score 14 points, it's almost impressive that they didn't lose by more than they lost by. But yeah, this team has been struggling, and we've been able to point to one position group and blame them all year long and say it's the receiver's fault. This week, it wasn't the receiver's fault. It was everybody on the offense having trouble. The O-line hasn't been strong all season, and Patrick Mahomes was bad yesterday, a way that we don't normally see him. Of course, he's going to be fine, but will they have the answers for the rest of the team on offense? I don't think so, which is why it was really disheartening to see the defense give up that final drive, because I had hopes to see the old Patrick Mahomes magic that we're used to, but they couldn't even get a stop against the Raiders when they knew what the Raiders were going to do. They knew they were going to run the ball. They still broke off a 40-yarder to put the game out of reach.
It was total system failure. They were missing short field goals.
Yeah.
They were shanking punts. Like everything that could possibly go wrong for the Chiefs went wrong yesterday. What do they need to do to fix this? The playoffs start in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs need to realize they are not who they think they are. All right? We're so used to seeing Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense be high-flying, pushing the ball down the field, him throwing for 300, 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's just not their reality right now. Yeah. They don't have the playmakers outside. They didn't go get DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason. They let go of Juju Smith-Schuster in free agency. So you have what you have at wide receiver. But if you're the Chiefs, you have to understand that the only reason that you were in this game was, one, Patrick Mahomes, right? As bad as he may have played, he was the only reason they were still in the game, and 2, your defense. Right. So the Chiefs have to fully accept the fact that they are a defensive football team. What does that mean with play calling? It means stop getting cute. Don't try to be cute and do these trick plays. You had 1 that worked, and then you had 3 that didn't work, and they were catastrophic. So in order to be cute with play calling, you first have to be cute with your execution, and they just haven't been able to do that right now. So the way I look at this for the Chiefs, when you say, hey, what specifically on offense is going wrong? We got a lot of NBA basketball for Christmas, right?
Yes.
You've seen basketball teams that they work on their fundamentals. They do the bounce pass with the thumbs down, right? They're getting open guys to the basket for easy layups. And then there's also the teams that are shooting fadeaway 3-pointers from the corner. And right now, the Chiefs are trying to shoot those fadeaway 3-pointers from the corner, and they're not playing high-percentage fundamental football. That's what they need to get back to, because if you got the Hamburglar on the sideline getting upset at Travis Kelce for slamming his helmet to the ground, you know there are problems in Kansas City right now.
I mean, it is. I think it's all fun and games when you're scoring 30, but when you're struggling to score 20, it's time to get back to the basics.
The mindset of where this is no different than the Eagles for me, right? This Kansas City team and the Eagles, right, is you have 2 teams that have been super successful, especially offensively last year and the years past, and what they've been able to do, and it's not who you are. And listen, I played on some of the best offenses in NFL history, scored a ton of points. But when you struggle, the pressure intensifies. You have to learn how to do it. You got to do it. So I'm going to let you know they got to give Mahomes more shots at throwing the football.
Oh,
yeah! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas to you, Dominique. Throw the ball more. Don't run it at all. No more. Everything's a pass. 100% Mahomes to those receivers, to Kelce. Let's air this thing out. Andy Reid, Air Raid, let's let it rip. No more running.
This is not something Andy Reid needs to be told.
Oh, no, not at all. That's what they're trying to do now. Okay, yeah. No.
I'll tell you what, you said it was just like the Eagles. There was a critical difference. The Eagles won their game yesterday, and the Chiefs did not.
Right.
They've got to get it together. They don't have
đôi vào. Đây. Gập vào như này nhá. Rồi, sau đó thì mình sẽ mở cái phần này ra và mình sẽ gập nó lại để tạo thành cái hình tròn nhé, để làm cái quạt nhé. Đây các bạn, mình gập nó vào như này, sau đó mình sẽ dán hai cái phần này lại với nhau để tạo thành một cái hình tròn. Đây nhé, gập vào này. Đây, tiếp tục gập nó vào như này. Rồi, ok, sau đó thì mình sẽ gập đôi nó lên nhé, gập đôi nó lên để tạo thành cái vòng tròn như thế này. Rồi, các bạn sẽ dán keo vào đây. Rồi, dán hai cái mặt này vào với nhau. Rồi, mình xong một nửa của cái kem nhé các bạn. Tiếp theo này, một nửa còn lại này, nửa còn lại đây, gập tương tự giống cái phần bên kia nhé. Các bạn sẽ gập theo cái phần đường kẻ nằm ngang có sẵn như này thôi nhé, rất đơn giản nha. Đây, và gập lên như này. Rồi mình lại tiếp tục gập đôi vào. Đây, tiếp tục gập đôi nó vào như này và các bạn sẽ dán keo vào đây nhé. Bỏ phần này sang đây, mình sẽ dán keo vào như thế này. Rồi, như vậy là mình đã có được cái hai cái nửa của cái chiếc kem này rồi. Bây giờ mình sẽ dán nó thành một cái hình que kem hình tròn như này nha các bạn. Bây giờ các bạn sẽ dán keo vào giúp mình này. Đây, các bạn sẽ dán keo vào như thế này. Đây, bước tiếp theo nhé là các bạn sẽ sử dụng cái phần tờ giấy màu vàng nhạt này, màu vàng nhạt nhưng mà nhìn nó đậm hơn cái phần này đúng không? Bây giờ các bạn sẽ quay một cái hình tròn bên trong nhé, quay một cái hình tròn bên trong của cái phần kem này. Đây, các bạn sẽ quay cho mình cái hình tròn như thế này nhé. Sau đó thì các bạn sẽ cắt cái phần này ra. Các bạn sẽ cắt cái hình tròn này ra giúp mình này. Rồi, thì đây sẽ là cái phần kem tiếp tục ở bên trong của cái kem màu vàng nhạt này.